Know this. Introducing the original Blood Clot podcast, not players. Soothing semantic. Special dedication. All the way from New York. Boom. Yeah, man. SWOT semantic. Yeah, me know. Boom. Soothing semantic. Yeah, me know. Big ups to the man. Soothing semantic.
Welcome to the Soothing Semantics podcast. I am your host, Rafi Pinsky. Make sure to subscribe, like, share, leave your comments so Ken and I can get back to them. Today, we have a content creator, a realtor in Orlando, big Disney fan. I mean, a big Disney fan would be an understatement. You pretty much, as you like to put it on your Instagram, you're Disney. If Disney's son was a realtor, is there something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. So I saw Kenpozek on a Keller Williams. For whoever doesn't know, I'm going to make sure to break everything down. Keller Williams is the biggest real estate company in America. Very, very popular. Many of you know it. Some of you don't. And they have a platform called MegaCamp. MegaCamp is to help train anyone who's part of Keller Williams, and even some people who aren't in Keller Williams can join as well. And the CEO of Keller Williams recently interviewed Ken on MegaCamp, where thousands upon thousands of people are watching. And Ken went into how his content has allowed him to build his real estate business, generate leads. And I am doing my own version of that on a smaller scale at the moment. You know, thank God it's definitely growing. So I am here to pick Ken's brain and see what we can understand. So first things first, thanks again for coming, man.
Sure, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. I spoke to you the other day about how so many people will contact us asking how to create content because they see it's working. Mm-hmm. So they automatically feel like, oh, well, I'm having this content FOMO. I have to get on it too. I'm missing out. What's been your experience with a lot of these people as far as what they actually end up doing? Right? A lot talk, few do.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like for me, it's a lot of people that FOMO is a good way to put it. You know, they want to get on the content train because they think that they're left behind, right? But content's nothing new. Like, this has been going on forever. And so, you know, I think there's a lot of people that are getting ready to get ready. You know, they want to find the best camera, the best lighting, the best whatever. And so they never start, or they start, and then after a couple months, they're not, you know, a YouTube celebrity, so they quit. And so a lot of that. And honestly, it's funny. I get asked sometimes like, well, you're telling everybody exactly what you're doing. And isn't that something that you're nervous they're going to go do it? And I'm like, I mean, listen, a few of them are. And I'm so excited when they do. And when they crush it, I'm like supporting them and reaching out and just super excited. Right. But most don't. And so it's, you know, it's interesting. I don't know. Anybody can do this. It's interesting.
Right. I mean, there's so many people that can bring their own spice to the table. It just comes down to the work. It really does. Finding new content to create every day, making sure the thumbnails look, I mean, you've been doing this a lot longer than me, and you definitely have a considerably larger page. But like anything else, once you start to test the water, see what works, see what doesn't, and you're consistent, things start to become organic and natural to the point where a lot of things are already, your studio's set up. If you want to tweak it slightly, you can do whatever you want. Yep. You want to get new equipment, you know which equipment to get, you know the equipment that's out there. You know what looks good and what doesn't. You know which thumbnails look good and which don't. You know what kind of videos generally create more views and which don't, just by trial and error, like everything else. So when people have this difficulty, I find that if they've been able to be consistent in something else, try to carry over that same consistency and understanding. That's how I feel about this anyhow.
Yeah, it's like, you know, if you're working out, like trying to lose weight, eating healthy, right? There's no magic to losing weight. Honestly, I lost like 50 pounds over the past 2 years, wow. And it's the same thing. It's like consistency, a little bit of willpower, and doing the same thing over and over again to where it's kind of a little boring. Like I like content creation because that makes my life a little bit less mundane in regards to real estate, right? I get to go create, I get to explain why I love Orlando and why I'm a Disney fan and why people should move here or why they should sell with us. And all that stuff's really cool. But you're right. It's a consistency of just trial and error. And you figure out how to get better along the way. And you figure out, oh, I thought this video was going to be amazing and it bombed. And most people would just give up. Instead, you're like, okay, why did it bomb? Let me make it better next time. Is it the title? Is it the thumbnail? What is it? And then go from there. It's the consistency that is where you win.
Sure. Okay. I'm glad to hear your confirmation on that. So what made you decide to start content? And I have plenty of questions for you, but let's start with that. Kind of what brought you to content creation?
Yeah. So in Orlando, when I moved here, I didn't have anybody that I knew. I've been in real estate for like 18 years, but I've only lived in Orlando for 5. And so I was looking for like a lead gen strategy that might work, that I could like hustle at and without having to pay dollars for, paying Zillow, paying Realtor.com, paying whomever to find leads. And a friend of mine in Jacksonville was like doing these model home tours, and he was to some success, like not lighting the world on fire, but doing okay. And I was like, okay, I'll try that. So was doing that. I put out 100 videos in 100 days and getting like no views, like 30 views, 20 views, like, just starting out. And then I did one on like the top 10 reasons why to move to Celebration, Florida. And that video took off. I got 100,000 views in 6 months. And I was like getting leads left and right. I'm like, okay, cool. So
really getting real estate leads left and right. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I get our channel today, man, like a bad day is 4 to 5 people reaching out. An average day is like, 10 plus people reach out directly. Like, we've been following you for the past year. We want to work with you. So, or your team. And so, but yeah, I was from that one video, like literally people are like, well, we're coming to town. We want to buy a house. So cool. So now I did enough trial and error to figure out like that works. And so let me lean into that. So that's the content journey that we've been on. And now, we put out 2 videos a week. We've got a newsletter we're launching. We've got a whole media company we're building out. And so we're like, okay, I know my YouTube channel with my, 17,000 followers or subscribers gets me X. So how can I 10X that with other content and other lead funnel, lead magnets and that sort of thing. And so that's where we're headed now.
Fantastic. I actually wanted to ask you, because you just mentioned the media company. So it's called, hold on, the Orlando Reel, right? Awesome. Okay. So it's launching October 1st. Very cool. I'm going to post that on the bottom so people can see it.
Thank you.
Tell us a little about that.
Yeah. So I think as real estate agents, like I'm a real estate agent, and, how do I figure out, okay, if you just bought a house from some other agent 2 months ago, how do I now earn the right to ask for business 10 years from now when it's the time for you to sell? So that's one scenario. Or just like if my team just sold somebody, a client, a house, how do I stay relevant in that person's life for the next 5, 10, 15 years until they're ready to sell? And, or if they have friends or family that want to buy or sell, how do I get that business? And so the whole idea has always been like, in the real estate industry, you should have a database, you should market to it, and then hopefully you get some business. But then I'm like, most realtors, unfortunately, send, apple pie recipes and interest rate updates and stuff that people just don't resonate with, And so we decided, what if we created a company that could be a content creation company that talked about everything in Orlando: theme parks, real estate, the dive bar that's been downtown Orlando forever, and the people that go there, the new developments, just everything. And so we called it the Orlando Reel, news for Orlando lovers. And so from that, it's like, okay, now I'm going to have the massive funnel of like anybody that's interested in anything in Orlando. So whether you live here or you're a Disney fan or a Universal fan, you're going to want to sign up for this. And so my idea is like, if I can get 250,000 people on our subscription list, and 10% of those statistically need to sell every year, maybe that's in market or outside, we'll have 25,000 people or opportunities to place a lead somewhere every year. And so that's what we're going on. So we hired bloggers and we've got content creators. We're still going to be moving forward with the YouTube channel. That's going to be still our centerpiece, but then growing that out. And so that's the idea.
Awesome. Okay. So yeah, it definitely sounds very different than a typical, you mentioned the pie and whatever other letters people send. So that's wonderful. Because anyone coming from a different state or a different country, they want everything kind of put out for them on a silver platter. So to have that, and especially when it's very obvious that you love Orlando. I see that right away when I check out your page.
Yep.
So when they see that someone isn't just robotically posting content about the area, but you genuinely love it and you're a part of it, people will be very enthused to look at it. So that's awesome. I'm definitely interested in taking a look at it. It's very cool.
Thanks, man.
So I presume you were a big Disney guy. I mean, ever since you were a kid, that's kind of what it seems like, right?
Yeah. The first time I ever rode a plane, it was to go to Disney World. And so I think,
by the way, it was same here, but the difference,
Yeah.
I don't know how old you were. I was 18 when I first went on a plane. I went with my friend and his family, and it was like, they're like, we're going to Disney World. I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to go on a plane for the first time, it's not a bad time to do it.
Yeah, let's go. That's awesome. I was 12. And so it was, I went for the first time, and I wasn't, obviously as a young boy, I wasn't into princesses or any of that other stuff, but it was like kind of amazing to see this, like, people from all over the world. And I lived in Detroit at the time. So like, seeing Orlando, it's warm and sunny and palm trees, and, people from all over the world are hanging out here, and just sort of this amazing kind of thing. And, I was just enamored with it all. And just like the business side of it to me is so incredible. Like, like the merchandising, and like, if you look at Walt Disney's mind map, and he said, okay, I'm going to create these media assets, and through that, we're going to do deals with TV and merchandising, and eventually like teaching, and like he had this whole plan of like how he would take his content, and that would go into so many different other businesses and create this massive empire. And so to me, seeing that, like, even as a teenager, I was like, that is incredible, and something that I've just loved ever since.
Mm-hmm. And that was a big draw for you to move there, I take it.
Yeah. I mean, part of it was my wife and I we wanted to buy a second home somewhere in Florida. And we were like, we don't really want to do the coasts right now just because of like hurricanes and stuff. What if we got something close to Disney? It would be fun to bring the kids down, and we'll do a second home. So we came down here and shopping for a second home. And I'm like, what if we just moved here? What if we just started over, and this became our life every day? And so that's what we did. In 2016, we came down to buy a second home, and instead we just built a primary residence, and then I moved my business down 6 months later.
That's awesome. Okay. But this was, when you say you moved your business down, what were you doing at the time? You were still doing real estate?
Yeah, I've been in real estate, sailing full-time real estate since 2008. And so I'd been a realtor up in Michigan, just old school open houses, sphere, no media at all. And it was just kind of like, just the old school stuff. And I ran a $40 million business. We did like 6 or 7 figures the last full year, which was 2016. And then I started over, not knowing anybody other than Mickey Mouse in Orlando. And so yeah, it's been a fun 5 years. So yeah, we just, we figured we could always go back home if we had to. And why not give it a shot while we're young? All the kids are young. It'd be a cool experience. Let them grow up in a really fun area with more opportunity than we thought was in Detroit. And so yeah, it's been fun.
Okay, awesome. And now that you've moved, from the time you moved, how long did it take you to build to where you are now? And what are you doing now as far as GCI and all that? What are your numbers now?
Yeah, so we're already at, so we're at September 11th, man, 20 years, kind of crazy. So September 11th, year to date, we're at 109 million, just shy of $3 million in GCI. So 109 million in volume, just shy of 3 million in GCI. 2017 was my first full year. So 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 5 years. Yeah. 5 years in, we'll do about 130 million by the end of the year. And yeah, man, that's it's been a fun 5 years.
It's amazing. That is amazing. What are your goals for the next few years? As far as content creator. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, the next 3 years, I guess I'm very clear on the next 3 years. Beyond that, I'm not really sure yet. So, but next year, 2022, the goal is $200 million in volume. We have the team in place now to hit that. I've hired sort of a lot over the past 90 days. So we've been ramping up on training and getting everybody where they need to be, from the operations staff to the agent side of the business, and training those folks. So now we're where we need to be. So by November, we'll be right on track with rolling into next year by doing, 16, 17 million a month, which will allow us to hit our goals. From the content creation side, again, I think that's just growing that as fast as possible. to where it's a standalone business that it can at least pay for itself. Because right now the real estate business is going to underwrite the media company. But that's like our lead gen strategy. Like it's, if I spend a few $100,000 on content and it pumps out $3, $4, $5 million in GCI, it's a good ROI. And it's long-term kind of stuff like, Zillow or radio ads or any of this other stuff. The minute you stop paying, you stop getting leads. The amazing thing about content is like you can build this massive pipeline and it still keeps going on, even if you stop.
It's amazing. It's never gone while you sleep. The views grow. It's just, in that sense, it's relatively passive. I mean, you want to keep the channel up and continue to do episodes, but at a certain point, and you're at that point, even though the channel isn't, it doesn't have 3 million subs, it's still a nicely sized channel. It's monetized. It's at a nice point. You've got close to 20,000 subscribers. So that's no small feat. You're in the very small percentage of content creators. Most YouTubers have tiny percentage of, so that's awesome. No,
yeah, I mean, I think about it from a real estate perspective. I started off tell me that your podcast, your people that are listening, are they all real estate agents or business owners, or who is listening for us?
No, all different kinds of people.
Cool. So so as a real estate agent, when you start off, they teach you cold calling and that sort of thing. And so I started off with Mike Ferry, which is like a real estate coach. You talk to 30 people a day, you'll sell 50 to 100 homes a year, and you just do that for the rest of your life. And YouTube and content creation, I mean, I get 8,000 views every single day right now, and that'll continue to grow. And so it's like, for me to cold call 8,000 people in a day, for them to hear about me talk about something I'm passionate about, it would take forever. I mean, like literally, I figured out yesterday, somebody challenged me to do it. 522 hours of content is consumed on our channel every day. And so it's like, I would have to go hire 100 people to cold call for me every day to hit those numbers. And so like, that's the power of content creation. It's just, I think leverage at the highest degree.
You know how happy I am that I already have a channel. If I didn't have a channel and I was just having a conversation with you over the phone, I would feel very left behind. So there are going to be people that are listening to this that are like, damn it. They're still not going to start the channel though, like we talked about, but
they should. They should. I mean, the amazing thing is like we get a lot of leads from our channel. Yes. But then like, it helps us with so many other things. It helps you with validity with clients that you find elsewhere. It gets me other business from other realtors across the country. It helps with, in so many ways, it's changed our business in a really big way. On top of the people that reach out, like it's just like such a multifaceted approach. Like if you don't have a content creation strategy, I don't know what you're doing. You're probably buying business.
You're so stuck behind. No, but there's so many things that it tells me. When I see a real estate agent with a big YouTube channel, it shows me consistency, work ethic, success, communicative skill. They're articulate. There's so many things that it tells me right off the bat about the person, and it gives me the ability to meet them before meeting them, so to speak.
Yeah.
So if there's some Bill Johnson has a short phone call with me and he says, "What's this Rafi guy? Who's this Rafi guy? How's he any different than the other 400 people that called me? Here's my YouTube link. Give it a gander." He goes, I like what this guy has to say. Seems like a genuine person. Has nice hair, So, it's like it really sets you apart. And I don't know, at least here in South Florida, I don't know any actual real estate agents doing a podcast. I'm sure there are some. I haven't heard any. Definitely the bigger realtors in this area aren't doing podcasts. So in and of itself, I mean, it's a big plus for me. I got in touch with you. I'm getting in touch with hopefully a few very big realtors down here. So I have one that's hopefully coming on the 19th of the month. So that's exciting. But as far as the bringing in clients, how do they reach out to you? So do you have some sort of click funnel? Like how does that? So say you have a video, it gets 50,000 views. What do you do to make it easy for a potential client to contact you?
So up until 3 months ago, they were just reaching out via text or email, which was a lot. I was missing 30% of the leads that were coming through. I mean, because at first it was like, oh, I want to do proof of concept. I want them to reach out to me directly so I can figure out what lead flow is like and all of that kind of stuff. And then I very quickly realized that I can't handle all of this. So now we say, they can call, which goes to my inside sales agent, my inside sales client care coordinator. They can email, which goes directly to her, or they can go on our website, which goes directly to her. So she's following up on every single lead and never misses. And so I think, having a system there to follow up, and then they get automatically assigned to our newsletter, and then they're hearing from us forever. So whether they're buying or selling immediately or 2 years in the future, they're going to hear from us. But I've got a whole client care department now that follows up, figures out where they're at and how we can help.
It's phenomenal. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm new in the business. I'm a year in, and I have to budget accordingly, but I'm definitely going to do that. I'm going to have an assistant take care of that and just make sure that anything coming in will be accounted for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just know that in my immediate circles, my friends of friends, people are starting to notice it. I mean, I post on my Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp every single week. I started August 24th, 2020. You're going to be the 56th episode. I have not missed a week of podcasting since I started.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's very cool.
So I plan on keeping that up for the next very, very long time, be it 10 years, because quite frankly, I love it. I have an editor in Pakistan, so I'm not sitting there editing all my content. I would be terrible at it. So made sure to delegate that so I have enough time for real estate. And as time goes on, I'm just going to make sure that I have all these, the proper assistants that can take care of the things I'm not good at, and just, simply help me. I like to be on the front end. I'm not a back end guy. So as you are. So I want to be on the front end, have other people taking care of the back end. So this way I can, build the business.
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah. It's business 101. So I'm trying to think of, I have several things I'm curious about, but what are strategies that you've implemented on your YouTube channel to go from a very small amount of views to a lot larger? What's helped really push your subscriber base, your views? Do you use tags? Because it seems like tags aren't as big as they used to be. So what are your strategies?
Yeah, tags are going away. Well, I mean, they still exist, but like even YouTube, when you upload a new video, they kind of hide it on even getting to them now. So they're signaling that they're not as big of a deal as they used to be. But I think your content strategy should definitely be not about you. It should be about who your audience is and what they're searching for. And so if you go to google.com and you just search in, best literally empty quote, like do an empty quote in Miami, Google will tell you what people are searching for. So best restaurant, best schools, best neighborhood, best view, best whatever. And then you shoot video around that. And now you're shooting content that people are actually going to discover. And then slowing down and understanding that, making the title match what that search category is. And then making a thumbnail that's appealing that people are going to click on. I mean, it's funny to me how many agent I get, especially after Mega Camp. I had hundreds of people reach out, still trying to get through all the emails, but hey, can you audit my channel? I've been trying YouTube and it's not working. And these people are putting out consistent work, hundreds of videos with like 10 views on them. And it's probably them just checking back in. How is my video doing? Right. But like, it's like, and they're naming it stuff like, Friday recap. And it's like the general YouTube screenshot that YouTube chooses,
there's no thumbnail.
There's no thumbnail. And I'm like, A, nobody's searching Friday recap. B, your thumbnail's terrible. And C, you're shooting content for you, not for other people. And so like when you start thinking about your content strategy that way, you'll automatically start getting more views if you're focused in on those three things. And so as soon as we changed that, like, maybe 2.5 years ago, all of a sudden our views started going up, subscribers started going up. And so that's where I would start.
Wow. Awesome. So I'm already implementing those things. I have nice thumbnails, and I'm sure there might be nicer and more appealing thumbnails, but I'd like to think, I'm curious to hear your feedback. You could maybe take a look at if you haven't, have you taken a look at it at all?
I did. Yeah. I saw a couple of your videos popped off, man. That was good.
What did you think?
It was good. Yeah. I mean, some of your stuff, like here, I'll do a We'll just do a live one right now, huh?
I've had so some of them, unfortunately, the mics were bad. I definitely need better microphones. There's no, and you're welcome to roast me right now in front of whoever's listening, because I have no issue with that. More than happy. So there's been a few, unfortunately, where I didn't realize I wasn't as attuned to the audio aspect as I am now. So there are certain things I just didn't notice. So I had, unfortunately, one episode would have gotten, I'm sure, a lot more views, but the mics didn't end up working. So you heard our voices in the background.
Oh yeah.
And it just makes such a big difference. People are so critical. The funny thing about humans is the vast majority of them don't take any action. They're sitting there with Mike and Ike's on their stomach watching the podcast, but they're so quick to criticize. So I, quite frankly, don't care necessarily about their criticism as much as I care about making sure that the content is proper, that the content is professional, that everything makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm looking at yours right now, and I think like, do you pay for any of your views?
Yeah, I did.
For episode 38, you paid for it, asking tough questions.
Yeah. So I did, let's see. So I did a few. I did like 3 of them because
my wife hired a hitman.
What's up?
My wife hired a hitman. Was that paid for, or was that organic?
I started doing it for about 2 weeks regular, and then I put ads into it.
So like, here's a good one with Lee Rosa, who's a great agent, by the way. I would start out with, going back, get rid of don't start your titles off with episode 51 or episode whatever. Put that at the end, because Google is looking at your first 5 or 6 words as your keywords. So are people searching for episode 52? No, nobody is. So, but if you got rid of it and you put what is the 80-20 rule, people actually, I've in my life Googled that before, like when I first joined Keller Williams, I didn't know what the Pareto's principle was. So I Googled that. And so I would back that off. And then instead of Lee Rosa, even though he's a handsome guy, and the soothing semantics, episode 51, I would put in what is the Pareto's principle with Lee Rosa at the bottom, as a thumbnail. So you can the cool thing about a YouTube is you can go back and update these things along the way. Like if you
wouldn't put in the name of the podcast itself, because I do want people to know that that's what it is.
But that's your channel, right? That's the whole channel, is the same podcast. That's the name of it. So on you could put it maybe down at the bottom, but I would put in, like, if that's your title you want people to hit, that's what I would focus on. Because and then like episode 52 here, it's hard to read on my phone. I have terrible eyes to begin with, but like I can't read. I see their faces, and that's good, but I can't read anything else underneath that. And that's interesting, because most people create thumbnails on their computer and it looks big and beautiful, but if you're not optimizing it for a phone, then you're missing out. So those are some things that, so I would just, on that hitman one, I would put, try to come up with 3 or 4 words. Hitman, or my wife hired a hitman. And then that's on the thumbnail with the guy. I think that these are all great topics, like really great topics. But I think that that's some things I would consider adjusting.
And you think to just take out the soothing cement? I just love how it looks, honestly, but it's
on the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Is it clickable though? What's your click-through rate? I mean, that's the other thing. If you're not at like 6-7%, you can do better.
Right. So you're thinking to take it off. And I'm looking at other podcasts. I'm just trying to think.
Like, don't go to Tim Ferriss, because Tim Ferriss is freaking Tim Ferriss, or Joe Rogan, but if you look at even if you do look at Tim Ferriss's stuff, he's got 1 million subs. It's literally just like Tim Ferriss and the other guy. And like, there's like barely any text on there.
Yes. Some of them, there are definitely exceptions to the rule where some of these thumbnails are really nothing special.
Correct. But he's also got 1 million subs. So like, he's going to instantly get it. I'm talking about when you're trying to get discovered first, with no following, you just have to have the most clickable thumbnail. I mean, it's not clickbait. You would definitely want to like own up. If the thumbnail says my wife hired a hitman, and then you're talking about real estate, people are going to be pissed,
Right.
But if it's like, hey, this is what it's about, you don't care. I mean, again, like you got to take ego out of this as much as possible. They're going to see your face. They're going to know who it is. It's your channel. And then go from there. That would be my advice.
Well, okay. So the only thing is, in a lot of these thumbnails, I don't put my face into it. So if I take out soothing semantics.
Yeah, agreed. So if that's your branding, that makes sense. But like, this is a really clean, like, I don't know who Corey Gill Schuster is. So like, if I wasn't reading the title, I wouldn't click on this. But if you said like Israelis and Palestinians, and that was it, that's what I would be like, oh, wait a minute, what's he talking about? And I would slow down and figure out what that is.
That's a very good point. I'm going to do that. What I would even maybe do is I can just put the flags in the background. So people say,
yes,
oh, okay.
There you go. Exactly. Now you've got it.
You know,
now you've got it. And then get rid of that. Put the episode at the end. Like that's fine if it's in the title, just put it at the end because Google's looking
people can see, people can still see that when they look through it.
The episode?
Meaning which episode it is, because I just want them to know which episode it is. Yeah, I'm really glad you told me that. I'm excited. I'm going to go into this. I'm going to go into all these now and just put the episode at the end and see what happens. And what do you think of Google Ads? Because there's a part of me very transparently that feels like I'm cheating. Although ads are ads. I mean, we all do advertisements, but it's like I'm so confident that I have awesome content. I just want to push it out so people can see it. And I'm confident that once people see it, they'll like it. So, I mean, ultimately, just because you do ads doesn't mean you're going to get the views. Just because you have impressions doesn't mean people will click on it. So in a sense, I am kind of pushing it with the ads. I'm kind of like, here, guys, look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I again, if they were bad, people just would skip over them. If the thumbnail sucked, if it seemed like a boring episode, I could have as many impressions in the world as I wanted. It wouldn't necessarily, get a lot of views. So
yeah, there's not a lot of there's not there's a lot of different Google ads or YouTube ads that you can choose, right? There's the skippable in-stream ads, which you're forcing people to look at. So of those 24,000 views, people could have watched 5 or 10 seconds and then skipped your video, which now you've taught YouTube that your video sucks. And so they'll keep pushing it because you're paying for it, but you've now taught them that your video isn't worth watching. So I would have a backup channel if you're going to run YouTube ads that you can say like, hey, here's kind of what this is about. Here's a clip. And then it bounces over to your main channel if they click on it. And then if not, it's not going to hurt your algorithm because I don't run any ads. I have like my channel is 100% organic and I've got over 2.3 million views. And so you just got to be careful with it. If you're going to run ads on YouTube, I would maybe consider discovery ads because then it literally makes your thumbnail an ad at the bottom and people actually have to click on it to watch it. You're not like interrupting their day per se. They're like looking at the bottom
so
thinking
you
like,
think the ads can actually really hurt the channel.
They can. Yeah. Your watch time, like go look what like the ones that you've got 12,000 views on, which that's how I could tell which ones you paid for and which ones you didn't. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, hey, go look in what your average watch time is for that. And I guarantee it'll be less than the ones that you had organic search on.
Wow. That's a pretty hard shot. Like I'm glad you told me this.
So YouTube rewards you for watch time. And so the longer they watch your videos, that's the game. Is like how long can I keep people watching my channel? And the more you do, the more Google will push your videos to other people because they know it's content people actually want to watch and you'll actually keep them on the platform. So there's like, you start looking at, okay, my average video on my channel is 10 minutes and my average watch time is 6 minutes and 42 seconds. My goal is to always get that pushing up higher, but like nobody has 100% watch time 100% of the time, just not possible. So, but that's your game with yourself of like, how long of a video can I create? And then how much of a completion rate can I get people watching it? Right. And so my goal is always to just try to push that longer. And you can do that from editing style. It can be like having more cuts. If you notice that, hey, on average, people watch about 5 minutes of my videos. So at minute 442, I'm going to do a cut or I'm going to put a card up at the top. Hey, did you like this video? Click over here to watch my other video. And now you've increased your watch time. You've created more stickiness on your channel. YouTube will enjoy that and start serving your stuff up more often.
Interesting. So it sounds like I should probably take these ads off. Do you think it could have already really messed up the channel? Like to be,
I mean, it's not like it's not like irreconcilable. I would just stop. I would go in, tweak your thumbnails, tweak your titles, like we talked about, and then reevaluate after 30 days. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. No, I appreciate that advice. That's awesome advice.
And then let me look at your
whatever else you think. Yeah, whatever whatever else you think we can do.
Let's see your description. Jake has a massive subscribe, like, and share. Okay, so you're telling Google that your video is about subscribe, like, and share. On this one, it's like how to get 2 million followers by pranking your dad. So, but you're not telling them just like the video is not about subscribe, like, and share. And if you to try to rank for those 3 keywords is at your level going to be almost impossible. So I would say put that subscribe, like, and share down at the bottom, and then use Jake. What's Jake's last name? Jake Gould?
Gould, yeah.
Okay, cool. So put Jake Gould has a massive TikTok following. That will get people that are searching for him and know who he is. Your video will start popping up because they're going to be in his ecosystem.
So I just write Jake Gould and
start it off like, so Jake Gould has a massive TikTok following of 2 million, right? So instead of starting your description out as subscribe, like, and share, do you know what I mean?
Wow, I didn't think that these little details made such a difference.
It does, yeah. So I would say, crazy. I would like on this one, this specific episode 55, just change the title to Jake Gould, how to get 2 million followers by pranking your dad. And then, so just swap out Jake Gould where it's at the end, put him at the front, and then put episode at the end.
Okay.
And then get rid of the subscribe, like, and share. So basically Google, how YouTube looks at your description is the first 200 characters has to match up with your keywords that you're trying to go for organic search.
Okay.
Because remember, you're not Tim Ferriss right now. You're not Joe Rogan. So the only way that people are going to watch this is if it's something that they think they're going to get knowledge from and that they're already searching for. Right. So if you want to stick out on YouTube, that's the strategy right there.
Interesting. Okay. It's just funny because I didn't think. Okay. And because Jake actually has a name, meaning he actually has popularity, you're saying in this case, in this episode, to put his name first, but generally you'd put the title first if it was somebody that didn't have notoriety. Is that what you're
correct?
Saying?
Exactly right. Yeah, you nailed it.
Okay, let me see. This is what I love about these things, man. It's like you learn as you go. That's how life is, It's just exciting that I can always pick someone's brain like yours and really, hopefully I can really change things in the business. Because like I said before, I'm not going to sit here and say I have the best content in the world, but I think I have a knack for this, man. I love doing it. I enjoy it. So whatever it'll be. But yeah, I mean, I didn't think that the ads hurt. What my feeling is I wasn't getting the numbers I necessarily wanted. So I was hoping that if I can put it out in front of enough people, it would also kind of trickle down into the other episodes.
Yeah. I get that. And I think there's a lot of people that do that exact play. And if at this point, if this point you haven't seen that happen already, it's not going to all of a sudden start. And so again, you go through your analytics and look at your organic videos where you spent no money, look at how long people watched, look at how the click-through rate was, all of that kind of stuff, and then compare it percentage-wise, right? So it should be exactly the same in terms of apples to apples. Compare those to the episodes that you pushed, and I guarantee you that watch time will be significantly lower, click-through rate will be significantly lower, which is hurting your analytics overall.
But why do you think it's so much lower though?
Because you're forcing people to watch it instead of them discovering it.
Uh-huh. Why do you feel it's forced? I mean, if there's one video and this one's just kind of next to it, it's interesting how that works.
I'm asking you, are you doing like skippable or in-body ads, or is
no? It's not in the video. It's not in the video. It's kind of like the next suggested video.
Right.
So it's not advertised in the video, in someone else's video.
Okay, well, that's what I'm asking you. So if it's in someone's video, those skippable ads where people are forced to watch 10 seconds and then they skip over, there's plenty of people that I would never do that, is what I'm trying to say.
No, so that's not what it is.
Okay,
I purposely, no, it's not that, because I knew that would be terrible.
Yeah, so the discovery piece is much better. Like if I was going to do ads, that's probably what I would do. But I'm just saying, go back and watch the videos and see what the difference is. And I would still guarantee you. Let me know what you think.
I hear you.
Cool. All right, man. What else you got before we wrap up?
I got you. Okay. We'll let you be. No, I mean, that's a lot. It's a lot. hopefully we'll be able to work some referrals together.
Heck yeah, man. I appreciate that. I'm actually coming down to teach at the Keller Williams office in Miami on Friday, next Friday.
Which one?
Do you know Ariel? Let's see, Hollywood, I think.
In Hollywood.
Ariel Hernandez.
No idea. But
it's on it's 700 Northeast Miami 33138.
Hold on 1 second. So what was it? 700?
700 Northeast 90th.
Northeast 90th. And when did you say you were coming?
Next Friday.
Okay,
I'm shooting a $17 million house down there just for what does 17 million get you in Miami compared to Orlando? And then
wow. But how did you get this? How did you get this?
From this mega camp thing. Somebody reached out and they're like, hey, if you did Shaq's house for 16 million, why don't you come shoot our house? And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. So,
are they giving you something for this? I mean, that's a pretty private question, but I'm really
curious. We can talk about that after. That's not
we can talk about it after.
So, yeah. All right, cool, man. Right on. I got to get onto my show here shortly myself. So thanks for having me out, man. It's fun. I'm excited to see your journey. Let me know if I can do anything to help along the way.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate it.
All right, man.
It's been a pleasure. Bye.